Hello, friends. I want to share with you today about Jupiter moving into the sign of Cancer for the next year and potentially what that has to offer you by way of growth and personal meaning in your own life based on where Jupiter and where Cancer are in your chart. So let me just say that at 2:02 p.m. today on June 9th, 2025, Eastern Time, Jupiter moved into the sign of Cancer. Um, Jupiter is the planet that is called the great benefic. It is the great bestower of blessing, of good fortune, of abundance. Um, in our solar system, Jupiter is the largest, massive, massive planet that is literally responsible for safeguarding the Earth from all manner of collision of asteroids and other space junk. So we are grateful. Jupiter literally protects us and keeps us alive. So that offers blessing. Um, Jupiter is also considered the planet that helps us to grow, right? It expands us, it expands our consciousness, it expands our wisdom, our optimism, hope, faith, our sense of potential and purpose, right? It aligns us on a soul level with our ideals, our aspirations. So those are some keywords and the essence of what Jupiter is offering us. So whatever sign Jupiter is traveling through in the universe, its influence on all of us in this sublunar realm of existence, its influence is to expand and grow us and our sense of possibility and potential around whatever the essence of that sign is. So, in the last year, Jupiter was in Gemini, and Gemini is very much about learning and teaching and communication, conversation, data, media. It's been a big year of media. um, we have a shift now into Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign. So it's this sense of beginning, being at the beginning of initiating something around water, which has more to do with emotion, intuition, our inner life of feelings. Whereas Gemini was very much about the mind, what we know, what we're talking about, thinking about. Um, Cancer is much more about what we're feeling. And Cancer is very much associated with home, family, parents, parenting, children. It's our family and home of origin, but also our chosen family. It's the home and family we choose to create for ourselves intentionally as we enter adulthood and continue through our lives. It is strongly connected to place when we talk about returning home or feeling at home, right? There are certain spaces in our life that feel like home to us, right? So there's the place you actually reside and live. There's the place you were born and grew up in. There is different, maybe cities, states, countries where you've lived. Maybe when you were away at college, that felt like home for 4 years. That was a different home. Um, there are places, it could be at a close friend or another family member or somebody that you spend time at, that place where you go, a community you belong to, feels like home to you. This is very much the nature of Cancer, is to connect to us to where is our place? Where do we belong? Where do we feel safe? Who loves us and who do we love, right? Who are we nurturing, caretaking? Where do we feel safe and protected? Where do we have sentimentality around, memories around that brings up certain feelings for us? That's all Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer is going to expand and grow us around home, family, nurturing ourselves and others. It may expand our ideals or aspirations around parenthood, around it may just have us feel more hopeful or more positive and optimistic around family, right? So if you've gotten cynical, jaded, negative about some family interactions or even about your home environment, Jupiter is offering us to expand our perspective. What else is possible? What else might bring me joy? Those are really important Jupiter questions, right? Jupiter is wanting us to connect on a soul level to something that is really helping us to aspire towards our higher purpose and potential. So, I want to offer a few other things for you to think about and how to integrate this. The first thing would be to look at your birth chart and figure out where you have Cancer. So, what houses is Cancer residing in? So you might look the Cancer glyph. I don't know how to show this to you. I should have brought this up. Oh, I could show it to you. Let me share screen. Let me share this chart with you. Just so you see, this chart is today at 2:02 p.m. at the moment that Jupiter moved into 0 degrees of Cancer, 0 degrees, 0 minutes. This is the Cancer glyph or symbol. Cancer is associated with the crab. So you want to look in your birth chart to see what house cusp. Here you could see in this chart, based in Ossining, New York, at the moment that Jupiter entered Cancer, there was Libra on the ascendant, and Cancer is at the midheaven, at the very, very highest thing. Um, and so I would say in this chart, if say this was your birth chart, that Cancer is ruling the house cusp of the 10th house, which is career, which is how you put yourself out in the world. Um, but you could see that there's also Cancer in the ninth house, and then Cancer takes up the rest of the 10th house. So for you in your personal chart, you're going to look at where do you have Cancer ruling the cusp and which houses does it fall in. The reason that's important is that's going to show you where these feelings of nurturing, compassion, empathy, wanting to feel a sense of belonging and love and caretaking with other people, chosen family or birth family, where that feels really important to you. And so based on where it is in your chart, also is where Jupiter this coming year is going to be moving and spending a lot of time. So Jupiter is expanding that area of your life. If that is in your sixth house, it might have to do with your day to day, how you take care of your health and your routines and your household and your, responsibilities and your schedule. If Jupiter is moving through your eighth house, it might be expanding your partnerships and collaborations and who you're in contract with to provide something and get something in return, right? Mutual collaborations. If Jupiter is moving through your first house, you might be expanding your own sense of self, your wants, your needs, your desires, your lifestyle, and putting yourself at the center of your life and growing around your vision and optimism around that, your feeling of abundance around having your own needs met. So you want to look there first and see where is Jupiter doing its little dance over the next year. The next thing you want to look at is what other planets do you have in Cancer? Because whatever planets you have in Cancer, Jupiter at some point over this year is going to be conjunct by transit, sitting right over and expanding that planetary energy for you. So if your sun is in Cancer, happy birthday to my Cancer friends, it's expanding your own sense of self and vitality, how you shine in the world, how you express yourself. If you have Venus in Cancer, you have a natural love and you value home and family, it's expanding what you love and value. If you have Saturn in Cancer, Saturn is very serious and does the work slow and steady and is committed. This might, Jupiter over your Saturn might be really expanding your commitment and how you take seriously whatever your long-term goals are around home and family. So you want to look and see if you have planets in Cancer and what Jupiter is going to be expanding for you there. Okay, the last thing I have for you, and this is perhaps, I think, the most important. As an astrologer, one of the deepest wisdom offerings that astrology has is about timing and cycles. And at any given moment in your life, there are certain planetary energies that are inviting you into deeper growth, awareness, change, transformation. And a Jupiter cycle is an 11 and a half to 12-year cycle. And I'm going to share with you the dates of the last times that Jupiter was in Cancer, because here's what I want you to think about in terms of Jupiter cycles. In those past times that Jupiter was in Cancer, what was happening in my life then? Now, Jupiter wasn't the only thing influencing you at that time, but it's a big thing influencing you. So, what was expanding in my life at that time? What was I growing around? Where was I connecting to new soul wisdom and a sense of purpose? What was I having faith around at that time and surrendering towards or just trusting in? That's Jupiter. What did I have ideals around and what was I aspiring towards and imagining was possible in my life at that time? Another good question might be, what was bringing me joy? And where was I connecting on a joyful level at that time in my life? These are all Jupiter themes. And going back to these past dates and remembering what was happening might give you insight into what's possible this time around. And it's like a spiral, and it's actually growing on the last cycles. So the last time, first of all, this time Jupiter is in Cancer will be from today, June 9th, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. So you have a whole year to work with this energy. The previous Jupiter cycle was June 25th of 2013 to July 16th of 2014. So you can do the math, figure out how old you were then, figure out where you were living, what was going on in your family, what you were growing around, what you were expanding at that time in your life. The time prior to that was July 12th of 2001 to August 1st of 2002. You'll remember that September 11th, 2001, the world changed for many of us. That was happening during Jupiter Cancer. So you can maybe place and remember where you were when that happened and what was happening in the aftermath of that new world post that terrorist attack for you in your life. The prior time before that was July 30th of 1989 to August 18th of 1990. So if you were alive back then, some of you may be younger than that, you could think about where Jupiter, what was going on in your life at that time. So, what else can I offer you? Some Jupiterian practices, Jupiter and Cancer practices. And this is coming from, I wrote a book about Jupiter, My Jupiter for Personal Growth and Purpose. And so if you're interested in this book, I have a bunch of copies and I'm happy to get one to you if you wanted to get that. You can also get it on Amazon. But one of the chapters is practices for aligning with Jupiter's potential in any given sign. So I'm just going to read you really quickly. Jupiter and Cancer, here are some practices that may spark something for you, right? That may be helpful for you. So prioritize your own self-care and self-love, um, because that's very Cancer, right? It's nurturing. It's nurturing and taking care of my feelings, right? And what I need to feel loved, to feel safe, to feel filled up. So taking care of yourself is a very Jupiter and Cancer practice. Feeling your feelings, right? And creating time, space to allow yourself to feel whatever is real for you in that moment instead of like, I don't have time to feel that, or I don't want to look at that. So finding time to feel your own emotions. Spend time near or immersing in natural bodies of water because we are in a water sign. Spend time with children, whether they're your own or someone else's. Children bring a certain innocence and joy, and they evoke often. For some people, they may evoke a feeling of loathing and ew. So I respect that if that's your space around children. But for many of us, being around children evokes a sense of wonder and like, wow, so much is possible. So much is unknown and unwritten, and there's so much growth potential. And there's an innocence and a joy and a faithfulness in that, which is very Jupiterian and Cancer. Um, if you're thinking of having a family, Jupiter and Cancer, Jupiter is literal expansion. Cancer is expanding your family. This may look like having a child, getting pregnant, adopting a pet. That is part of a family. It may look like expanding your connection with family that you already have, right? Like really spending more time with, or, seeing what else might be possible and what you can imagine and your ideals around family. Um, Enjoy being a homebody and cocooning in your home. That is a big Cancer theme, right? Like enjoying and loving and feeling purposeful in your own home space. Maybe you want to give your living environment some TLC and make it more comfortable, more inviting, feel like safer as a space for yourself. Um, you may want to visit family or take a trip with family. You might want to use this year as a time to go into some therapy and do healing work around your own inner child, around ancestral wounds and issues and things from the past that maybe you want to revisit in a way that actually has some new perspective or hope or optimism around your own growth. Um, you may want to do some caretaking work. So that could look like volunteering and doing volunteer work with children, with any population of people, with pets, with elderly, um, some place that you feel like I can be of service from my heart, from my holding space for giving love and kindness to others, that is very Jupiter in Cancer. So finding some place where you are needed to provide some emotional support and do that. You may want to engage in practices that actually cultivate your intuition and really develop this sense of inner listening and awareness and faith to what you are sensing in your body, in your soul, and the things that you kind of inherently know and feel. So that is also Jupiter Cancer. This might be a nice time to kind of take a trip down memory lane. And maybe there are places that were really important to you at a former period of your life that did feel like home, and you haven't visited that place in a long time. And maybe this is a great time to go back and see what arises for you in that place and just reconnect and do a little bit of like going through old photos and going through, old memorabilia and, just seeing what that evokes for you and seeing how much you've grown since then and what is that next step of growth that it's leading you to consider. Um, and then, of course, it's a great time to really just visit your astrology and see where in your chart personally is Jupiter going to be touching by conjunction, by trine, by square, by opposition, and what does that offer you in terms of a blessing and a gift this year. So I'm here to do that work with you. I hope this is helpful. Again, happy birthday to my Cancer people, and I'll check in with you guys again soon.